First You Think is a not-for-profit ministry of the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines. Support us at ucdsm.org today.
This morning we honor our beloved dead. The holy day, Día De Los Muertos, is a distinctly Mexican holiday, though some in other Latin American countries have adopted it. It's a festive celebration in memory of those who have died. It has Mesoamerican roots going back over 3,000 years, though it has been heavily shaped by two Roman Catholic holidays, All Saints' Day on November 1st and All Souls' Day on November 2nd. In Spanish, All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day are known as El Día de Todos los Santos and El Día de los Muertos, respectively. In southern and central Mexico, Día de los Muertos entails many traditions, building private altars called ofrendas, honoring the deceased using sugar skulls, marigolds, and the favorite foods and beverages of the departed, and visiting the graves with these as gifts. Visitors also leave possessions of the deceased at the graves. Themes of the day include remembrance, grief, cycle of life and death, honoring those who have gone before us. In the Gaelic pagan tradition, a parallel holiday is Samhain. Día de los Muertos and Samhain are distinct traditions, yet each invites us to imagine that the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead lifts, and our ancestors visit us. There is more going on here than mere superstition. These practices yield spiritual and psychological insights. A Mexican boy spending the night at his uncle's grave, as is a custom of Día de los Muertos, will gain from that experience a connection across time with his forebears. We might be connected through social media to every acquaintance we ever had since high school and connected through our phones at all times, and yet we are cut off from the web of time. Traditional cultures, with their shamans and ghosts and reincarnations, have understood intuitively something that we have repressed. The dead do not die. They live on in our memory, in our hearts. They live on in us even when we no longer remember anything about them. They live on in us in ideas and habits that we today embody even long after the source is gone from conscious memory. Of course, we remember our dead. The 2017 film Coco is a good one to watch and rewatch at this time of year. It is available on various streaming services. If you don't have other plans this evening, I recommend it. The invitation is to take this annual day as a time for remembering and honoring the beloved ones who went before and are with us in our hearts, though they are gone. We acknowledge the power of the Día de los Muertos tradition for those of Mexican heritage, and we accept its invitation to remember loved ones lost. But we will do so in our own way, not appropriating a culture that is not ours. Our ritual will use ribbons, which is not a usual part of Mexican practices for the day. And Lamont writes, "You will lose someone you can't live without, and your heart will be badly broken. And the bad news is that you never completely get over the loss of your beloved. But this is also the good news. They live forever in your broken heart that doesn't seal back up, and you come through. It's like having a broken leg that never heals perfectly, that still hurts when the weather gets cold, but you learn to dance with the limp. We who live on temporarily live among the dead, and they with us. A life does not begin with itself, and it does not end. The dead, writes Wendell Berry, remain in thought as much alive as they ever were, and yet increased in stature, grown remarkably near. The older I have gotten, the better acquainted among the dead, the plainer it has become to me that I live in the company of immortals. We live in their love, and we know something of the cost. Sometimes in the darkness of my own shadow, I know that I could not see at all were it not for this old injury of love and grief. End quote. The very absence of those who have died somehow puts them with you in a way they never were before. Yet even somehow know them better than you did before, or imagine that you did. And imagination is all we ever have of another person, not understanding, for we do not understand even ourselves, let alone another person. Beyond understanding, we have imagining, and beyond even imagining, we have love. Our hearts know them, knew them in life, and know them now in death. When our own lives end, or rather when they are removed from time and stand in the light of eternity, we are by that light at once condemned and redeemed. Every way we failed the only justice of loving one another is exposed, and every way we did not fail. So take a moment to close your eyes and open your heart. Who do you wish to call in this morning, to honor and remember in this time together? A parent, a grandparent, a sibling, an aunt or uncle, a spouse. It may be a beloved family pet, a close friend, a great-grandparent, an ancestor you have only heard stories about but wish you knew. It may be the ancestors of your heart, the artists who came before you, the early leaders in your field who still inspire your work. It may be ancestors of your spirit, teachers in your spiritual tradition, pioneers in Unitarian Universalist, or figures from other faith traditions that you honor. And as you breathe, just allow the memories and feelings to surface. Give yourself permission to have your experience your way this morning. If you're moved to tears, then let the tears flow. If you're moved to laugh, go ahead and laugh. There are many emotions that arise when we reflect on those we have lost. We grieve, we feel our sorrow and our loss, and we remember. We recall the stories and jokes we shared with that person. We remember the small gestures, perhaps the way a beloved dog always licked our tears when we cried. Today, in this sacred space, I invite you to let yourself have your experience and know we are all holding space for you, whatever shape your experience takes as it unfolds. You got a ribbon in your order of service. If you are missing yours, our ushers have extra. You can raise your hand if you're missing a ribbon.
They're all gone.
Oops. Ribbons express special occasions such as birthdays and weddings. Ribbons denote prizes for accomplishment or excellence. Blue ribbon, the red ribbon. Ribbons express our wish for safety and health. They signify solidarity with social justice or with medical concerns such as the pink ribbon for breast cancer awareness. Ribbons decorate military uniforms. Ribbons tie us to life and also to death. Today we have ribbons to take us deeper into life and death, and so I invite you to take up your ribbon. Now hold this ribbon and think of the people you know who have died. Perhaps there are one or two whose memories are startlingly relevant to your life this moment, whose presence was profound to you. Touch the ribbon and think of how that person touched you. Look at its color and remember how that dear one colored your world. And when you're ready, you're invited to write one or two names on that ribbon, names of the dearly beloved, and we have markers that our ushers are ready to pass out to everyone who needs one. They have a bunch of markers in those baskets, so not So there will be some sharing of markers, but take a moment. After the service, I invite you to tie your ribbon to the twine that has been strung by our windows. We shall create our collective memorial, and we will leave it up until Advent in honor of loved ones who are absent and yet present. In the weeks to come, we all may look to these ribbons. They help us see a world more colorful, death and all, and they help us paint a life more joyful, sorrows and all. We'll take a few minutes. Bruce will play. It'll allow for reflecting and writing on our ribbons. We have a few extra ribbons. If somebody's missing a ribbon, raise your hand. Barb, over here. During this liminal time, with the veil between the living and the dead lifted, or at least we take a moment to notice it is not quite as opaque as we tend to assume. This time when we remember our dead, let's also take a moment to reflect on our own death. It's often said that death is a part of life. I would suggest to you that it's not a part of life, it's the whole thing. To be alive is to change, and change means the death of what was. Life is a constant dying, a constant passing away. Samhain and Día De Los Muertos each reminds us in their own way that each of us will soon be among the dead. And this too is a wholesome, enlivening, and spiritual reflection. Our lives are but brief candles. So if we would celebrate the fullness of all of our life, we will honor in gratitude, indeed relief, that the separate identity that the ego so ardently believes in does not have countless ages. What is ours to do is only this short span, our 70 years and 10, more or less, maybe 80, maybe even 50. That mortality reminded A.E. Housman that really we have only this moment, so he chose to walk about the woodlands to be present to the beauty that is right now. Now of my 70 years and 10, 20 will not come again, and take from 70 springs a score, it only leaves me 50 more. And since to look at things in bloom, 50 springs are little room, about the woodlands I will go, to see the cherry hung with snow. Remembering death, keeping it always in mind, makes us more present to life. What a puzzle it is, as Mary Oliver said, that such brevity makes the world so full, so good. Scottish novelist Dame Muriel Spark writes, "If I had to live my life over again, I should form the habit of nightly composing myself to thoughts of death. I would practice, as it were, the remembrance of death." There is no other practice which so intensifies life. Death, when it approaches, ought not to take one by surprise. It should be part of the full expectancy of life. Without an ever-present sense of death, life becomes insipid. You might as well live, she says, on the whites of eggs. German philosopher Martin Heidegger said, "If I take death into my life, acknowledge it, face it squarely, I will free myself from the anxiety of death and the pettiness of life. Only then will I be free to become myself." And the 16th century French essayist Montaigne said, "Let us deprive death of its strangeness. Let us frequent it. Let us get used to it. Let us have nothing more often in mind than death. We do not know where death awaits us, so let us wait for it everywhere. To practice death is to practice freedom." In that freedom of awareness of death, we finally dissolve those boundaries we construct between self and other. And dwelling there, we realize at last the Jubilee world, harmony among peoples, among animals, among all things. Larry Rosenberg writes, "We know in our heads that we will die, but we have to know it in our hearts. We have to let this fact penetrate our bones. Then we will know how to live. To do that, we need to be able to look at the fact of death with steadiness. We can't just glance at it casually." And Judith Leaf notes, "The best preparation is working with our state of mind now, rather than thinking about exotic things we might do later when we are looking death in the eyes. Better to learn to relate to death now, when we still have the strength and ability. In that way, when we face difficult circumstances, or at the time of death, we can rely on what we have already practiced ourselves to know." And Louise Erdrich observes, "Your life feels different on you once you greet death and understand your heart's position. You wear your life like a garment from the mission bundle sale ever after, lightly because you realize you never paid a thing for it, cherishing because you know you won't ever come by such a bargain again." In the science fiction Star Trek universe, there is a thing called a transporter beam. The transporter beam converts the matter of your body into an energy pattern, beams it to a target location, and then reconverts it back to matter. As many viewers have pointed out, the transporter essentially kills you and then reconstructs a duplicate of you. But this is just what time does to us anyway. What we have been ceases to be and is reconstructed into what we are now. Maybe the transporter beam called time will reconstitute your pattern, very slightly changed, in the next moment, and maybe it won't. Either way, the being you experience as yourself this second is gone the next second. Why wrap so much anxiety around whether or not a very nearly identical replica will supersede you? Why have any anxiety whatsoever about that? And when that anxiety is cleared away, seen through, recognized as stemming from delusion and dropped, then indeed we will know how to live and how to love. Blessed be. Amen.